Darkness. A single piano note breaks the silence, soft and haunting, echoing like a memory. Slowly, a melody begins to rise. Faint but familiar, a slower, gentler version of it must have been love. A woman's voice whispers through the darkness. Some stories never really leave you. They live in the streets you once walked, in the dreams you once dared to have. The screen flickers to life. A limousine glides down Rodeo Drive, neon lights spilling across its polished surface. A red dress sways in the night air, its fabric catching the glow of passing headlights. A jewelry box snaps shut, sharp, familiar, unforgettable. The images fade as quickly as they appear, like fragments of an old dream. The screen falls dark again. A deep, steady voice breaks through. In 1990, the world fell in love with a story that reminded us love can be found in the most unlikely places. Now, after decades apart, two souls will meet once more. The music swells slightly, strings joining the piano. A blurred silhouette appears, a woman, older now, standing in front of a shop window. Her reflection looks back at her, softened by years yet still carrying the spark of the girl she once was. For a moment, the sound of her laughter echoes faintly, as if the past itself is calling. The city skyline fills the screen, Beverly Hills at night, alive with light and motion. Inside a high-rise office, a man stands by the window. His hair is silver now, his eyes thoughtful, distant. He exhales slowly, as though carrying the weight of unspoken years. Back on the streets, the woman walks alone, heels clicking against the pavement. She pauses, looking up at a hotel sign glowing above her, the very place where everything began. Her voice returns, low and wistful. We had our fairy tale, but life doesn't always stay a dream. The music deepens, filling with longing. The screen fades into black once more, and a single word glows across the center. Simple yet powerful. Soon, the music softens into a slower beat, almost like a heartbeat. The city moves around us in quick flashes, crowded streets, hurried faces, the buzz of modern life. But amid all this motion, two figures move separately, as if lost in different worlds. A man's voice, steady but tired. Time changes everything. The way we live, the dreams we chase, the people we lose. The screen reveals Edward, older now, sitting alone at a long conference table. Papers are spread in front of him, voices of younger executives echoing in the background. His eyes, though sharp, carry a loneliness no success could erase. Cut to Vivian, walking through a small boutique, arranging dresses on hangers. The shop is quiet, intimate, filled with hints of her old sparkle. She pauses, running her fingers across a crimson gown, the color pulling her back to memories she thought she left behind. Her voice rises softly. Fairy tales don't prepare you for the years that follow, for the silence, for the distance. The music grows deeper, a slow thrum beneath the words. Quick flashes. Edward standing at a window, his reflection broken by the glass. Vivian locking up her shop at night, looking back over her shoulder before the door clicks shut. A younger woman entering Vivian's life, someone she seems to mentor, though her eyes betray a fear of repeating the same mistakes. Edward at a gala, surrounded by people yet utterly alone. The narrator's voice returns, firmer now, carrying weight. He built an empire. She built a life. But even after all this time, neither built a world that felt complete. The images cut faster. Vivian laughing with the young woman she mentors, though the laughter fades as she looks away. Edward turning down a business rival's handshake, tension filling the boardroom. Both of them staring out at the city lights, unaware they are looking toward the same horizon. The music climbs, strings pulling against the piano, hinting at something about to break. Her voice, barely above a whisper. I told myself I'd moved on, but every corner of the city still remembers you. The screen fades to black, then a brief flash of their faces, caught in the same frame for the first time in decades, though not yet meeting. The tension lingers, heavy and unresolved. The music drops into silence, leaving only the faint sound of footsteps, slow, deliberate. A woman's heels clicking against polished marble. A man's shoes echoing in a hallway. Two lives moving closer, frame by frame. Without yet colliding, a hushed voice whispers through the silence. Some meetings are accidents. Others are written long before we ever arrive. The screen cuts between fragments of their lives. Vivian at a charity event, her laughter masking the weight behind her eyes. Edward stepping out of a black car, the city flashing across his face in sharp reflections. Vivian pausing, holding a glass of champagne, sensing something in the air. Edward adjusting his cufflinks, unaware of what waits on the other side of the room. The piano returns, single notes stretched with aching patience. Her voice, fragile but steady. What if life gives you one more chance? With the one person you could never forget? The crowd in the ballroom blurs into shadows. A spotlight drifts across the room and then it stops. Two silhouettes, one at each end. For a moment, neither moves. The silence between them feels louder than the music itself. The screen lingers on Edward's face, older but softened, eyes widening as recognition flickers. Cut to Vivian, her lips parting, her breath catching as if time itself has stopped. A rush of sound bursts back in strings sweeping upward, the piano breaking free into melody. They take a step, then another. The crowd parts, the world fades, until it feels like no one else exists. Their eyes finally meet, the narrator's voice rises with the music. When fate brings two souls together again, will they risk everything for one last chance at forever? The trailer flashes moments of their reunion, a quiet smile exchanged across a table. Edward reaching for her hand but hesitating. Vivian in a crimson dress once more, spinning under golden light. A dance, brief but burning with unspoken history. Her whisper breaks through the music, soft, almost trembling. Welcome back, Edward. The screen fades into black as the melody holds on a single trembling note. A deep drumbeat thunders under the soundtrack. Slow at first, then faster, like a racing heart. The screen explodes into quick flashes of moments, fragments of a story. Too powerful to ignore. Vivian walking away in the rain, her eyes shimmering with tears. Edward chasing through a crowded street, his voice breaking as he calls her name. A younger woman warning Vivian, don't make the same mistake twice. Edward in a boardroom, slamming his hand on the table, I won't lose her again. The music rises higher, strings soaring, drums pounding, the piano now full and alive. The narrator's voice cuts through the storm. Love stories don't end. They evolve, they break, they bend, and sometimes they begin again. Rapid fire. Montage. Vivian in a crimson gown, standing at the top of a staircase as the crowd gasps. Edward reaching out his hand, trembling, desperate. A kiss almost happening but cut away at the last second. Laughter in a quiet room, two hands brushing together after years apart. Vivian shouting through tears, you think time makes it easier? It doesn't. Edward's reply, fierce, it only makes it harder not to try again. The music crashes into silence. For a heartbeat, nothing, only stillness. Then one final swell of melody as their hands finally touch. A spark, electric, impossible to ignore. The screen cuts to black. White letters slowly appear. Pretty woman to the reunion. 2026. A final whisper lingers over the fading music. Some love stories are forever. The screen holds for one last breath before fading completely. The screen is black. Silence lingers. Then, a faint sound, the familiar click of a jewelry box snapping shut. A soft laugh follows. Warm and teasing. You still do that? The camera slowly fades in. Edward and Vivian sitting side by side, the city lights glittering behind them. Edward smiles faintly, holding the jewelry box, his silver hair catching the glow. He answers softly, his voice carrying both humor and ache. Some things never change. Vivian tilts her head, her eyes locking onto his with that same spark from years ago. A pause, then her smile grows, tender and knowing. The screen fades once more, and a final line appears. Coming 2026. The music closes with a single, lingering piano note unfinished, like a promise waiting to be kept. The screen flickers. Like an old film reel, the colors muted, almost dreamlike. The sound of rain falls heavy, echoing against pavement. A voice breaks the quiet, low, unsettled. What if second chances come with a price? The rain-soaked streets of Beverly Hills flash on screen. Vivian runs through the downpour, clutching something close to her chest. Edward follows, his face tense, not with anger, but with fear. The music shifts darker. Strings, pounding drums beneath the melody. A rival's voice cuts in, cold and sharp. You don't belong in his world. You never did. Quick, jagged cuts. Vivian slamming a door, her face streaked with tears. Edward standing alone in his office, the city lights around him like a cage. Vivian shouting, I won't lose myself again. Not even for you. Edward whispering in reply, and I won't lose you. Not this time. The music swells but stops suddenly, leaving only silence. Then a single image. Vivian, in the crimson gown, standing at the edge of a balcony, wind sweeping through her hair. Her expression is unreadable, torn between staying and walking away. A final whisper closes the trailer. Every fairy tale has a shadow. The screen fades to black. But instead of peace, the audience is left with an ache, a question of whether their love will survive the storm. The screen is completely dark. Only a soft voice breaks the silence. Older now, seasoned with years of living, people say love is just a moment, a spark, a fire that fades. But some loves, they shape who we are. They stay with us, no matter how much time tries to take them away. Slow, aching piano notes return, played almost like a lullaby. Images roll in soft, lingering shots. Vivian teaching a young girl how to dance in a small studio, her movements gentle but full of grace. Edward sitting in a park, watching children play, a faint smile breaking across his face. The two of them walking past each other in slow motion, their hands brushing, their faces turned with recognition. The narrator returns, softer than before, like a whisper of destiny. This is not just about the past. It's about the mark two hearts can leave on the world. The music swells. But instead of tension, it rises like hope. Quick cuts. Vivian in her crimson dress, stepping into light, radiant and unafraid. Edward offering his hand steady, certain, as if to say this time forever. Their laughter echoing in the night, brighter than the years that kept them apart. The screen slows, holding one last image. Edward and Vivian dancing under golden light, surrounded by shadows that melt away until only the two of them remain. A final line fades across the screen. Pretty Woman 2. The reunion. Not every love story ends. Some begin again. The trailer closes with the faint sound of applause, blending into the city's heartbeat. Before the screen fades to silence, the screen is black. No music, only silence. Then, faintly, the sound of footsteps on marble, echoing, one after another, until they stop. A match strikes. A single candle flickers to life, casting a warm glow across Vivian's face. She looks older, but her eyes are alive, glowing with fire and tenderness. She leans closer, whispering almost directly to the audience. What would you choose if love found you again? The flame quivers, then dies out. Darkness swallows the screen. A beat of silence. Then the faint sound of the jewelry box snapping shut echoes one last time. The title flashes briefly once more. Pretty Woman 2, The Reunion 2026. This time, the tagline appears in silence. Without music. Some choices define forever. The screen fades out completely, leaving nothing but emptiness and the echo of her question still hanging in the air.